Chapter 41 He Can't Move. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 41 He Can't Move. When I was young, I heard my master mention the Xia Kingdom. He said that more than 10,000 years ago, Xuanhuan was the largest country in the northern wilderness. I never expected that it would be destroyed by my hands now. The old sword master was inexplicably emotional. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. Seeing this, the envoy from the Xia Kingdom just sneered, "What, the largest country?" Even if the Xia Kingdom has many geniuses, it eventually became the wedding dress of my Xia Kingdom. Now our Xia Kingdom is the largest country in the northern wilderness. There is no need for such a weak Xia Kingdom to exist now. Venerable Sword Saint, with your current strength, even if the ancestor of the Xia Kingdom comes back, you may not be able to withstand the disaster of destroying the country. Seeing what the Xia envoy said, the old swordsman nodded. Indeed, with his current strength in the war-ready realm, even if the ancestor of the Xia Kingdom came back, he could not stop the long sword in his hand. Suddenly, the old sword master and the Xia envoy were like two ghosts, heading towards the inner palace of Shang dynasty. The other side, as soon as Jiang Bo finished his morning court, he hurriedly came to the inner hall to visit Jiang Yue. Originally, Jiang Yue's body was weak and she was not suitable for exposure to the sun, but Jiang Yue had no choice but to ask, and as a father, he couldn't bear it. After obtaining the master's consent, Jiang Yue was moved from the secret room to the inner hall. Although it has been moved to the inner hall, the black curtain is still closed outside the inner hall at this moment. There are only some weak eyes, but they shine through. But this way, Jiang Yue was very happy. After all, Jiang Yue only had a few days to live, and Jiang Bo wanted to satisfy her as much as possible. Jiang Bo brought the mage to the inner hall. Looking at Jiang Yue's pale face, the monk took out a pill from his arms. "Princess, this is the grass-returning elixir refined by a poor monk. It can help you recuperate." "Ahem, thank you, master." Jiang Yue suppressed her cough, clasped her hands together and thanked the great monk. Although she is not very young, she has the demeanor of a born superior in her words and deeds. If he is not assassinated by the Xia Kingdom, he will surely be able to lead the Xia Kingdom to glory when he grows up in the future. However, talking about these now is tantamount to wishful thinking. The poison in Jiang Yue's body progressed very quickly. Even if she took the great monk's elixir, she might not be able to survive for a few more days. At this time, Jiang Yue's mother, Xuanhuan, came to her daughter with a bowl of chicken soup. She used to be the most beautiful woman in the great Xia Kingdom, but now because of her daughter Jiang Yue's health, she couldn't sleep a wink for several days. She, who was usually the most beautiful, now had deep dark circles under her eyes. As the saying goes, haggard people cannot be pitied. Just as Xuanhuan was feeding Jiang Yue chicken soup, Jiang Bo suddenly slapped his forehead, as if he remembered something. Seeing this, Xuanhuan and others looked at Jiang Bo in confusion. "Why did I forget this? We can go to Fairy Bibbo, the best doctor in the world. Even if she asks for anything, I will not hesitate." Jiang Bo said frankly. The great monk said, "I also remembered what the king said. The master of Fairy Bibbo is the medical fairy of Beizhou. If we ask for help from her, maybe the eldest princess can have a chance of survival." Seeing the two people saying this, Xuanhuan's face finally became a little brighter. As for Jiang Yue, her eyes lit up when she heard this. Although she is not afraid of death, if she can avoid death, then who would want to die young? There is no need to go to any famous doctor. You will all die today and no one can save you. Suddenly, a murderous voice sounded in front of the inner hall door. Then, a strong wind blew, blowing all the shady palace doors to pieces. Two figures appeared in front of Jiang Yue and others. "People from Daxia?" Jiang Bo asked in a deep voice. "Yes, I am the envoy of the great Xia Kingdom, Xuanhuan." The envoy wearing the official uniform of the Xia Kingdom said coldly. "I am the swordsman bestowed by the Xia Kingdom, nameless." The old man in black, "Did you come after all?" After listening to the introductions of the two men, Jiang Bo's heart fell into an abyss. The Daxia Kingdom really went too far to deceive others. In order to seize the dragon vein in Jiang Yue's body, they gathered together these hundreds of people. I can't even wait for these few days. Jiang Bo had heard of Lu Fangweng and Sword Master Wuming before. The former has half-stepped to the level of War King, while the Sword Master Wuming is a real War King cultivator. Such two powerful monks, even if they summoned the entire power of the Shang Kingdom at this moment, they would not be able to match them. The strongest monk in Shang dynasty is the king himself, Jiang Bo, who only has the 6th level of fighting body. By God's blessing, I, the Lord of the Xia Kingdom, have a decree to convey to you, King Shang. The envoy Lu Fangweng said loudly, seeing that Jiang Bo didn't move at all. He had no intention of accepting the order. That's right. The Shang Kingdom is almost over. When death is imminent, I won't care about a dying person like you. Lu Fangweng thought to himself. Just checking, the Shang Kingdom has harbored evil intentions and has long been planning to rebel. We have also sent the Sword Saint to exterminate them. I appreciate this. Lu Fangweng. Master Das Heng, can you plead guilty? Why bother trying to incriminate someone else? Jiang Bo said with a sneer. Hearing this, Lu Fangweng was too lazy to talk nonsense anymore. He turned to Sword Master Wuming and said, the Lord of Shang Kingdom is stubborn. Lord Sword Master, take action. Wait a minute. The poor monk is an elder from the Boro sect. For my sake, can you? The great monk said with his hands clasped together. Unexpectedly, before the great monk finished speaking, the Sword Master Wuming took action. Call out. Wuming didn't even draw the scabbard of the sword at his waist, and threw it at the big monk. With just this one blow, the big monk flew out and fainted. A mere elder of the Borough Gate, do you think I can give you face? Sword Saint Wuming said disdainfully. Killing a burrow ant makes my hands dirty. In the inner hall, the only person who could stop the two Sword Saints had been put away at this moment. Next, it was the unilateral slaughter of the Sword Saint. Jiang Bo looked back helplessly at his wife and daughter, with a miserable smile on his face. China, daughter, I'm afraid our family will not be able to escape today. Shang was Queen Mother who China was speechless, just covered her face and cried. Looking at Jiang Yue again, she sat up in shock from her dying illness and said to the two sword masters, you Xia country just want to take over my body, this has nothing to do with my parents, let them go and I will commit suicide. The princess is filial, but this is not something you can decide, everyone present today must die. The princess doesn't have to worry about being lonely in the underworld, we will kill all 3 of you and massacre the city. Xia country envoy Lu Fangweng said coldly. Hearing Xia envoy's words of massacre, Shang country lord Jiang Bo roared, you beasts, I will not let you go even if I become a ghost. Then I'll be waiting for you any time. Lu Fangweng smiled. Then, he turned to Sword Saint Wuming. Wuming, what are you waiting for? Send the king of Shang on his way first. After waiting for a long time, Wuming still didn't make a move. Lu Fangweng couldn't help but frown. Sword Saint, why don't you make a move? Wuming. Do you want to disobey the king's order? Make a move. After repeated urging, the Sword Saint still didn't make any move, and the whole person was like a statue. Don't urge him, he can't move. Suddenly, a cold voice came from outside the inner hall. Chapter 42, Weeping and Kowtow to Welcome the Ancestor. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 42, Weeping and Knocking to Welcome the Ancestor. Who's outside? Get out. The voice outside the inner hall startled Lu Fangweng, and he shouted subconsciously, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. The next moment, 2 men in strange clothes walked outside the inner hall. One wore an ornament with the word Jonan on his head, and the other wore Chunin on his head. Although the clothes of the 2 men did not look like those of people from the northern wilderness, the aura on them shocked Lu Fangweng a little. 2 War King cultivators are here at once. Although Lu Fangweng was only at the half-step War King realm, he had been immersed in martial arts for many years and was very familiar with the aura of War King cultivators, but the fact that 2 War King cultivators came at once was not enough to shock Lu Fangweng. Until he saw the next scene, Lu Fangweng's jaw almost dropped to the ground. I saw 2 War King monks kneeling on one knee on both sides, looking like they were welcoming someone. That look and state were like a servant welcoming his master. Who on earth is it that can make a War King monk become his slave? Lu Fangwen was very shocked. You know, with his half-step war king strength, he can be a high-ranking official in Xia Kingdom. What kind of power can make a high-level war king monk willing to become his slave? Fight, a strong man in the war candidate. Seeing Yi Fan stepping in, Sword Saint Wuming's eyes almost popped out. As soon as he finished speaking, Wuming prostrated himself in front of Yi Fan. He prostrated himself. It was not Wuming who did it deliberately, but the pressure of Yi Fan, the war candidate, was too strong. If he didn't do this, he would be crushed to death by this terrifying pressure. Not only was Sword Saint Wuming shocked, but Lu Fangwen was also extremely surprised. The one who fell to the ground was the one in power, and he reacted immediately. Yes, only the powerful in the battle soul realm can make the two war kings willing to never be slaves. Lu Fangwen, the envoy of Xia country, greets Senior Battle Soul. I don't know why Senior Battle Ho is here. We are clearing out the remnants of our country. Hope. Lu Fangwen had no choice but to bring up the great Xia country, hoping to shock Yi Fan. After all, his great Xia country also has an emperor who has reached the Battle Ho realm, and he is also the great elder of the Xinghui Holy Land. Irika, Kakashi, go. Yi Fan was not interested in Lu Fangwen's words at all, waved his hand, and ordered Kakashi and the two in front. Yes, sir. Irika and Kakashi bowed slightly and replied respectfully to Yi Fan. Suddenly, the Sword Saint crawling on the ground moved. He stood up from the ground, his clothes fluttering in the wind, his body surrounded by spiritual energy, and his runes were shining. A ray of green light instantly enveloped the whole body of the Sword Saint. He actually broke free from Yi Fan's coercion and took the initiative to attack Yi Fan. The vast mana was all around the sword on the waist of the Sword Saint, like Wang Yang's waves. The next moment, the Sword Saint drew out the sword from his waist and slashed towards Yi Fan. The speed of the Sword Saint's sword was so fast that the naked eye could not see the process at all. I only saw the Sword Saint's right hand move towards the sword on his waist. Then, the scabbard of the sword fell to the ground. When everyone reacted, the sword light of the Sword Saint's sword was already rushing towards Yi Fan. This sword seemed to split the sky and the earth. It's the merciless sword. And it has been cultivated to perfection. It is rumored that the merciless sword can split the sky and the earth when it is cultivated to perfection. Jiang Bo shouted in horror. Think of me, Wuming, who has devoted his life to studying the ruthless sword. As the saying goes, if there is no woman in my heart, I will naturally draw the sword. In order to practice this ruthless sword, I have abstained from sex for a lifetime. Now, it is time to test the power of the ruthless sword. The voice of Sword Saint Wuming came. He was just at the 9th level of the War King, but after feeling the threat of death, he has already advanced from the War King realm to the 1st level of the War Candidate. Not only has his realm been promoted to the 1st level of the War Candidate, but the power of his ruthless sword, it directly made his entire momentum break through to the 2nd level of the War Candidate. As the saying goes, once you enter the War Candidate, it is like a deep sea, and from then on, you will be a passerby in the advancement. Sword Saint Wuming was able to break through a large realm and 2 small realms in a short period of time, which can be regarded as a great accumulation of experience. The full force attack of the 2nd level of the War Candidate is so powerful, it is not something that Irika, Kakashi and others can fight against. They also stepped aside very tactfully. Not only the two of them, but also Jiang Bo and others who were left in the inner hall were separated by Yi Fan's energy shield. After all, Jiang Bo and others had not even reached the level of War King, and could not block this move at all. Zheng. Without women in mind, draw the sword naturally. Ruthless sword, ask for advice from Senior Xuanhuan. As soon as Sword Saint Wuming used this move of ruthless sword, the entire inner hall was filled with thousands of sword shadows. Done. That even Sword Saint Wuming himself was surprised. He didn't expect that he would break through in the battle. If Yi Fan was just an ordinary Xuanhuan beginner, he might not be able to take his sword. Even the Xia Kingdom's Emperor Taishang, the existence of the 3rd level of Xuanhuan, did not dare to take his sword. What a domineering sword energy. Jiang Bo was separated by Yi Fan's energy shield at this time, but he still felt the overwhelming fighting spirit. He only glanced at the sword shadow in the void, and suddenly, a bloody tear left in his eyes, because the pressure of this sword is too strong, it can reach people's souls directly, it is infinitely close to the origin of the sword. Just when the overlapping sword shadows were about to sweep Yi Fan, he finally moved, to be precise, Yi Fan just sneezed. Ah, cut, puff. At a certain moment, dozens of careful tornadoes rolled up in front of Yi Fan and swept towards Wu Ming. In just a moment, the sword light that was overwhelming in front of him was melted into the invisible. After solving the sword light that was coming in the face, the residual power of the tornado disintegrated the sword Saint Wu Ming. What kind of ruthless sword is it? It's full of flaws. My lord, I am not doing my job well, please punish me. Irika and Kakashi stepped forward and bowed their heads fiercely, asking for punishment. Yi Fan stopped and said, "It's okay." From the beginning to now, Yi Fan has always been so calm. However, Jiang Bo and others have set off huge waves in their hearts. The sword saint broke through the battle and used all his strength to display his trump card, but Yi Fan just resolved it. He didn't even move a little finger, just sneezed. What a terrifying power. Not to mention Jiang Bo and others, even Lu Fangwang, who was half a step away from the War King, was shocked and dumbfounded at this moment. Only Jiang Yue, seeing Yi Fan's great power, was refreshed, and Yi Fan's heroic figure was imprinted in the depths of the girl's soul. After getting rid of Wu Ming, Yi Fan ignored Lu Fangwang and stepped forward. He pointed in the air, and with a swoosh, an ancient token flew into Yi Fan's hand. On the ancient token, there was a big 4 engraved. Endless years have passed, and finally I saw an old thing. Hearing Yi Fan's words, Jiang Bo, the king of Shang, was struck by lightning. He looked at Yi Fan in disbelief, his upper and lower teeth still trembling. I dare to be your senior, you? Xuanhuan. Ancestor Xuanhuan. After Yi Fan finished speaking, Jiang Bo struggled to jump off the wheelchair, because he couldn't kneel down because he had no legs. At this time, he could only crawl in front of Yi Fan. Jiang Bo, the unvirtuous king of Shang state, kowtows to welcome the ancestor with tears and blood. Chapter 43 The Ancestor of Medicine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xuanhuan was the pseudonym that Yi Fan used when he founded the Great Shang Kingdom. In fact, Yi Fan had seen hundreds of forces in the northern state, but none of them used his real name. But now this pseudonym of Xuanhuan has become the proof of Jiang Bo's recognition of the master. The name of the first ancestor of the Great Shang Kingdom is a top secret, and only the ruler of the current dynasty can know it. And it has been passed down from generation to generation. In fact, Jiang Bo had long doubted whether the ancestor was still alive. After all, the mausoleums of the kingdoms of the Shang Kingdom were not built for Yi Fan, leaving only a tomb. In the inner hall of the Shang Kingdom, the King Jiang Bo's bow and shout shocked everyone, especially the Xia envoy Lu Fangwang. He never expected that the founding ancestor of the Shang Kingdom 10,000 years ago was still alive. But then, he sneered again. What a great king of Shang, who has been a coward for 10,000 years, and rushed back just before Shang was destroyed. But do you think you can turn the tide just by coming back? My Xia Kingdom is in its heyday, and the Supreme King is even a great power in the war candidate realm. The Great Xia Kingdom is the strongest kingdom in the northern province. Lu Fangwang had already guessed that he would die today, so he simply became unscrupulous. After all, the sword saint who broke through to the war candidate realm just now was not a match for Yi Fan, let alone him, a little half-step war king. Tranquility. Yi Fan pursed his lips, and Kakashi's Raikiri came over, killing Lu Fangwang on the spot. Yi Fan then looked at the token in his hand, recalling the past scenes. As the saying goes, recalling the past is full of vicissitudes. The Queen Mother of Shang, the eldest princess, the national teacher, kowtows to the ancestors. At this time, Wu Qiner, Jiang Yue and the monk in the inner hall also kowtowed 3 times and 9 times to Yi Fan. At this moment, they no longer had the depression and grief in their hearts. With their own ancestors here, they don't have to be afraid of anything. No need to be polite. Yi Fan raised his hand slightly, and a soft breeze helped Jiang Bo and others up from the ground. After helping them up, Yi Fan walked to Jiang Yue with his hands behind his back, looking at the blood veins on the girl's head spreading like earthworms. Even Yi Fan couldn't help but take a breath. What a great country of Great Xia! How dare they poison my descendants with such a poison? Yi Fan hasn't felt this kind of anger for a long time, because Jiang Yue is the 4th descendant Yi Fan found this time, and the most miserable one. if he didn't arrive in time, then the country would be destroyed and the family would be ruined. The poison that Jiang Yu was poisoned with was the soul-devouring technique. There was no way to crack this soul-devouring technique in Beizhou. Soul-devouring technique is just as its name suggests. It is to cultivate a group of soul-devouring goo worms and then foster them in the host. When the soul-devouring goo worms multiply in the host's body, the goo worms in its body will devour each other, leaving the strongest one. The strongest soul-devouring goo king is completely integrated with the host's blood. Then, the soul-devouring goo king will devour the host's spiritual veins, then break out of the body and fly to the hands of the caster, as long as the caster swallows this soul-devouring goo king again. He can inherit Jiang Yuer's dragon and phoenix spirit body. The cruelty of this poison is that the soul-devouring goo worms will suck the blood and qi from the host in the early stage of reproduction, but outsiders have no way to deal with it. After all, this goo worm parasitizes in the human soul sea. If it is forcibly expelled, it may end up in a dead end. This poison is so cruel that even the people in the demon sect list it as a forbidden technique. Now Xuanhuan actually used it on his descendants of Yi Fan. How could Yi Fan not be angry? Yi Fan was very angry. For the first time, he had the idea of killing. He wanted Xuanhuan to pay the price for this matter, and the price was that the entire Xia country would be buried with him. Although Jiang Yuer was poisoned by such a poison and was exhausted, even so, it did not crush her inner will. Looking at her beautiful eyes full of hope, the ancestor Yi Fan could not help but nod secretly. He thought that this descendant was not only of great physique, but also born with the blessing of national destiny. He was really born to be a superior. Well, it's worthy of being my descendant. Not only does he have national destiny, but he is also determined and can become a great man. Jiang Yuer's determination was so firm that I'm afraid that the spiritual veins in her body were also extremely stable. Even if the spirit-eating goo king wanted to devour her, it might not be so easy. Grandmaster, Yuer is indeed blessed by the country's luck, but she was secretly murdered by the Xia Kingdom. Jiang Bo planned to tell the ancestor the whole story and ask him to make the decision. Before Jiang Bo finished speaking, Yi Fan waved his hand to interrupt him. No need to say more, I already know the whole story. This time I came to save her. After speaking, he reached out and touched Jiang Yuer's little head, and said softly, as my descendant, you should learn to be strong. You have done a good job in this regard, which makes me very happy. So, the ancestor can break the poison? Jiang Bo couldn't help but let out the joy in his eyes. We were just talking about inviting the first doctor in Beizhou, Fairy Bibbo. Fairy Bibbo? Yi Fan was slightly stunned. Grandmaster, Fairy Bibbo is the adopted daughter of the medical Saint Yulan. Jiang Bo replied. So it's Xiao Lanzi, then there's no need to go, Yulan is still my disciple. Yi Fan suddenly realized and smiled, rumble. Yi Fan's words were like a heavy hammer hitting Jiang Bo and others' hearts. Medical Saint Yulan was actually the disciple of his ancestor. Especially the big monk on the side, he was shocked beyond words. Yi Fan was actually Yulan's master, so he was the ancestor of medicine she mentioned. Senior, so you are the ancestor of medicine Yulan mentioned. The big monk looked at Yi Fan and asked. Hearing this, Jiang Bo and others were also shocked. The ancestor of medicine. Yi Fan couldn't help but touch his nose when he heard this. Xiao Lanzi was good in every way, but she was not very good at talking. She told everything to others. Didn't she tell her not to tell others? Cultivating Yulan to become a medical saint was just Yi Fan's way of completing the system task. This and that, the ancestor likes to keep a low profile, don't spread this matter everywhere. Yi Fan didn't want others to know that he knew medical skills, otherwise a lot of people would come to him every day, and it would be annoying. Grandmaster, don't worry, we juniors won't dare to say anything. The big monk and the others nodded like crazy, especially the big monk. When he saw Yi Fan, he was like a god, and his whole body was shining. He had been immersed in medical skills for many years, and now he could see the ancestor of medicine with his own eyes, which was really exciting. He was more excited than seeing his own ancestors. Yi Fan didn't care about the surprise in everyone's hearts. Now, Yi Fan planned to help Jiang Bo to dissolve the poisonous insects in his body first. Chapter 44, Extremely Wise. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yifan reached out his hand and stretched it to Jiang Yuer's head. Read that in just a moment, the protruding blood veins on Jiang Yuer's head disappeared completely. Taiwan Novel Network Method G.W. Yifan stretched out his hand and exhaled slightly. It's okay. What? Everyone present was originally very anxious, and never expected that it would be cured so quickly. 3 question marks appeared on the foreheads of Jiang Bo and others. No wonder they were confused at the moment, but Yifan's method was too horrifying. He just made a move and drove away the poison. Everyone wondered if they had just blinked, so they missed some details. Yuer, does your head still hurt? Jiang Bo, who was the first to react, asked Jiang Yuer. Jiang Yuer subconsciously touched her head when she heard the words, and found that the protruding blood veins had all disappeared at this moment. Not only that, Jiang Yuer also felt that there was a stream of spiritual energy flowing from her head to her dantian. At first it was just a trickle, and then it became a torrent. After a few breaths, Jiang Yuer broke through the 2 realms of warrior and fighter, directly came to the middle stage of the fighter realm. The poison is really resolved, that the monk exclaimed when he saw this scene. Jiang Bo and Hu Qiner looked at each other, and both of them could not hide their joy. The knot that had tortured them for so long was finally untied at this moment. After the poison in Jiang Yuer's body was resolved, the fatigue in her body was instantly replaced by spiritual energy, and at this moment she felt unprecedentedly refreshed. Between her eyebrows, a golden phoenix logo flashed constantly, which represented the blessing of the national destiny in Jiang Yuer's body. After the national destiny in her body was unsealed, she was also eager to try and seemed very excited. Thank you for saving my life, Ancestor. Jiang Yuer kowtowed to Yifan and performed the 3 kowtows and 9 bows again. Being able to live like a normal person was like a dream for her before, but now she can finally see the light of day again. It's okay, you are talented and intelligent. Among the descendants I have met now, you are the one who makes me most happy. Hearing this, Jiang Bo and Hu Qiner were also overwhelmed with emotions. It was good to feel protected by the ancestor. Congratulations to Her Royal Highness, the Princess. Now that the poison has been cured, she will surely laugh at the heroes one day. Phoenix sings in the sky. The big monk also left tears of joy on his face. He came to Xuanhuan very early. It can be said that he watched Jiang Yuer grow up and treated her as his own daughter. But Ancestor, if Xia knows about this, I'm afraid it will not let it go. Jiang Bo suddenly thought of something, and the joy on his face solidified instantly. You know, the great Xia Kingdom has a retired emperor ancestor who is at the battle realm, and he is also the great elder of the Xinghui Holy Land. I'm afraid he is not that easy to deal with. What great Xia Kingdom? The great ant kingdom is more like it. It's just a bigger ant. The master can kill it with a flip of his hand. Yifan hadn't spoken yet, but Irika said this first. Hearing this, Kakashi also nodded. Others don't know Yifan's strength, but Kakashi, as an NPC-like existence, naturally knows it well. The 3rd level of battle, I'm afraid it can't withstand Yifan's casual attack. Seeing Irika say this, Jiang Bo and others were shocked. The great Xia Kingdom was like a huge mountain, pressing them so hard that they couldn't breathe. In Yifan's place, it was just a bigger ant. Ancestor, may I ask about your cultivation? Jiang Bo couldn't help asking. Yifan waved his hand and said, if I don't take action, who dares to say that he is invincible, who dares to claim to be undefeated? Xia Kingdom is not to be feared. The arrogant words contain the domineering aura of dominating the world, and a taste of invincibility comes to the face, and the seeds of invincibility are also planted in Jiang Yuer's young heart. Since you are so worried, I will go to Xia Kingdom in advance to settle the accounts. Xia Kingdom has secretly harmed nearly 100 descendants of Shang Kingdom in recent years while Yifan is away. Yifan must ask Xia Kingdom to get this account back with interest. On the other side, in the palace of the dynasty in the kingdom of Great Xia, at this time, Xia Kingdom is holding a court meeting, and a middle-aged man in a dragon robe is sitting on the dragon throne cast by 9 dragons. He is Xuanhuan, the current king of Xia Kingdom, and the country is called Dashun. The main content of today's court meeting is just to discuss how to deal with the land of Shang Kingdom after the annihilation of Shang Kingdom. Yes, that's right, Sword Saint Wuming and his 2 men were just sent out this morning, and now they are already discussing how to divide the territory of Shang, because in the eyes of everyone in Xia, Sword Saint Wuming alone can destroy the weak Shang anyway, sooner or later. We have to deal with this matter, so it is better to figure it out in advance. Lord, after the fall of Shang, Sword Saint will definitely bring back Dragon and Phoenix Blood Pill. When the time comes, give it to the prince, and he will be able to condense the fate of a true dragon. Yes, now the prince has condensed 50 true dragons and 49 true phoenixes. He only needs 1 true phoenix to complete his merits. Once the true dragon fate is formed, the national strength of my Xia will surely rise to a higher level and become an immortal hegemony. Hearing the shouts of the ministers below, Xia Wuin's majestic face showed a faint smile. My dear ministers, please stand up. This time, I was able to seize the last true phoenix of Shang so smoothly, thanks to the great magician's credit. When my Xia Kingdom comes to rule the world, I will definitely not forget the contribution of the mage. Xia Wuin, the lord of Great Xia, said. Hearing this, the fat monk on Xia Wuin's side nodded slightly. Thank you, your majesty. Just then, a monk hurried up to the hall. It's bad, your majesty, the nameplates of Envoy Lu and Sword Saint Wuming are both broken. The monk reported tremblingly. Hearing this, the fat monk's pupils shrank. How could this be? Shang Kingdom doesn't even have a battle soul cultivator, how could it kill the war king Wuming? On the other hand, Xia Wuin was much calmer. After all, Shang Kingdom was once the largest country in Beizhou, so it must have some foundation. Your Majesty, I am willing to go to Shang Kingdom in person to bring back the Dragon and Phoenix Blood Pill to help your Majesty achieve hegemony. The big monk said respectfully. Master, I appreciate your kindness. You don't need to do anything for a mere Shang Kingdom. I have my own arrangements. Xia Wuin's tone was very calm, but it sounded like thunder in the ears of the big monk. The great Xia Kingdom is really awesome. 2 war kings died, but they were so calm. It seems that choosing to join the Xia Kingdom this time is really wise. The great Xia Kingdom is so powerful. Brother, you are really confused. I asked you to join the Xia Kingdom with me, but you insisted on staying in the Shang Kingdom. Now it's good. You can't leave even if you want to. You can only be buried with the Shang Kingdom. The fat monk was full of sarcasm in his heart. As he was muttering to himself, a thunder suddenly interrupted his thoughts. Chapter 45. The entire Xia Kingdom was buried with him. You are listening at novelfull.audio. What's going on? It was sunny before, but now there's lightning and thunder. In addition to the strange feeling of the great monk in the palace, the guards guarding the door were also surprised and uncertain at this time. It was just breakfast time, and the sky suddenly turned dark. Not only did the sky darken, but there was lightning and thunder, but when everyone looked at the sky, there was no sign of rain, which was really strange. While everyone was surprised, a dark cloud suddenly appeared in the sky. Hey, it's really a wicked sect. Outside the side hall, a group of imperial concubines gathered together. The emperor of Xia Kingdom, Xia Wuyuan, was in middle age and had countless concubines. At this moment, these concubines gathered together in 2s and 3s and observed the strange phenomena in the sky. Sister, what evil do you mean? Asked a concubine. Seeing her asking, the concubine who was called Sister replied, I mean this dark cloud is very evil. It seems like a dark cloud, but it is different from the previous dark clouds. Sister, it's all dark clouds, so what's the difference? Another concubine also asked. Look, the dark clouds in the sky are not as black as the previous ones, and they look a bit like the outline of a finger. Kiki, sister, you are really joking. All the concubines laughed like silver bells. In the Xia dynasty, its territory covered an area of tens of thousands of square meters. Who could have such a big palm to cover the entire Xia Kingdom? This is not nonsense. Sister, I think the Supreme Emperor has said before that even with his 3rd level cultivation, it is absolutely impossible to cover the Xia Kingdom with 1 palm. If even a powerful person like the Supreme Emperor cannot do it, how can others do it? Do it? Well, maybe, maybe I was blinded. Sister, your majesty favored my sister again last night, and you are still a little bit upset now. Sister is joking, although she said this, the concubine who was called sister was extremely angry in her heart. Little vixen, his majesty clearly went to your place last night, but now he's doing this to show off. The concubines are no more noble than the mother of the Xia Kingdom. They seem to live a glamorous life, but they are extremely sinister in their hearts. Gain, there is only one king but countless concubines. They all want to be favored by the emperor. Let's not mention the rivalry among the concubines for the moment, let's talk about the depths of Xia Kingdom's palace. There is a pavilion built here, which is not only extremely luxurious, but also covered with overlapping formations. If you look down from the sky, you can see an innate bagua pattern. Yes, the buildings here are distributed according to the innate bagua. This is the Qintian prison of Xia Kingdom. Throughout the dynasties, the institution of Qin Tianjian was usually established. His main duty is to observe the stars in the sky for the king, so as to predict the good and bad changes of the Xia Kingdom. In the middle of this innate bagua pattern, there is a pavilion with a height of 100 feet, towering into the sky. On the top floor of this pavilion, immortal energy is lingering, stars gather, and a small bagua rune surges. In front of the yin-yang bagua, a group of monks in Taoist robes were sitting. The leader thought that the old man in Taoist robes was directly suspended in the void of yin-yang bagua. Obviously, the old man in Taoist robes in the void is the head of the Qintian prison. The row of monks in Taoist robes below are ordinary members of the Qintian prison. It's strange, how could Master suddenly appear out of thin air? I'm afraid he found some sign, right? Master is here under the orders of the country's lord to predict good and bad luck for Xia Kingdom. He must have discovered some changes about Xia Kingdom. In my opinion, this hexagram must be auspicious, and our Xia Kingdom will definitely take off. In Qintian prison, except for the old man Shukong who frowned and remained silent, everyone below was smiling. It's no wonder that they would speculate like this. Now that Xia's national power is so strong, it can be said that no one dares to disobey the orders of the Xia Kingdom. This time I am observing the stars in the sky to predict good and bad luck for Xia Kingdom, and I can only get good fortune. At this moment, the old man in the void suddenly slowly opened his eyes. The next moment, the old man in the robe was vomiting blood, and his body seemed to be cut apart, and it was constantly being separated. What's going on? Master, what's wrong with you? Seeing the sudden change of the old man in Taoist robes, everyone in Qintian prison was shocked. However, the old man in Taoist robe ignored everyone's words. His eyes were bloodshot and he murmured, Xia Kingdom is over. It's a very dangerous hexagram. I have never seen such a dangerous hexagram. After finishing speaking, the old man in Taoist robes coughed up several mouthfuls of blood. Then, he kicked his legs and closed his eyes, and never woke up again. Master. Seeing the death of Chief Qintian supervisor, everyone present suddenly panicked. Everyone didn't know what the old man in Taoist robes meant just now. Now that Xia's national power is at its peak, why is it such a bad sign? But whether they knew it or not, it was already too late. Gain, the big hand in the sky, has slowly landed. At this moment, the great Xia Kingdom encountered an unprecedented disaster, and was in danger of ruining the family and the country. At first, no one paid much attention, but when the palm in the sky got closer and closer, everyone saw it clearly. It turns out that the dark cloud in the sky is really a human hand. In the inner hall, the fat monk looked up at the sky with his huge palm, and felt that the world was shaking at this moment. It was like a landslide, the ground was shaking, and the palm of the void was about to crush the whole world. Ah, sister, you read it right, there is a real palm in the sky. It's over now, we are all finished. Sister, what should I do? I haven't been favored by His Majesty yet. At this moment, everyone in the palace was in a state of extreme panic. At the critical moment of life and death, they couldn't help but cry for their parents. Countless cries, begging for mercy, and curses were intertwined. In the palace, Xuanhuan, as the ruler of a country, tried his best to control himself from kneeling down. But in the face of such terrifying pressure, he still couldn't raise a thought of resistance. No, I can't die in such humiliation. I want to find the Ancestor. Yes, the Ancestor is a third-level warrior. Although he is not in the palace at the moment, as long as he contacts the Ancestor will definitely have a way. With this last strong desire to survive, Xuanhuan stood up from the throne with difficulty, and walked quickly towards the depths of the inner hall. The Ancestor of the Xia Kingdom left behind a shadow wall, and this magic weapon can be used to contact him. Hurry up and connect. In a short time, an old man's shadow appeared on the shadow wall. He was the Xia Kingdom's emperor. Saved up before Xuanhuan finished speaking, the palm of the sky had already fallen. From then on, the life and death of the king of the Xia Kingdom, the entire Xia Kingdom was buried with him. Chapter 46 Toad Dragon. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Have you heard? The capital of Xia was destroyed by a giant beast. What giant beast? I heard it was a hand that fell from the sky. A hand that fell from the sky? That's nonsense. The Xia Kingdom covers an area of 10,000 kilometers. How big a hand would it take to cover it? Oh, no matter if it's true or not, fortunately it didn't affect us. After the capital of Xia was wiped out from the northern wilderness by Yi Fan's palm, many people near the capital were talking about it. Standing in front of the once prosperous capital of Xia, all you can see is a huge palm print and the bottomless abyss. Many people began to pack up and prepare to move away. Soon, the once prosperous Xia Kingdom collapsed like a building in an instant. Let's not talk about the disaster of Xia Kingdom for now, let's talk about the palace of Deshang. Yi Fan was sitting in the imperial garden at this moment, and a hand that was originally hidden in his sleeve was stretched out again. Picking up the teacup on the table, Yi Fan took a sip. Sir, what did you do just now? Irika and Kakashi on the side could not help asking. They had just felt an unusually terrifying aura on Yi Fan. It's okay. I just killed some small ants. Yi Fan said lightly. This time, Yi Fan only wiped out the capital of Daxia, and did not wipe out all the creatures in Xia. It was already a mercy from Yi Fan, who made Xia act so recklessly that he even dared to harm his descendants. At the same time, a graceful figure jumped from a distance and ran to Yi Fan. It was Jiang Yue. Ancestor, Yue is here. Jiang Yue shouted to Yi Fan crisply. Jiang Yue, who was cured by Yi Fan, no longer had the paleness on her face. She was charming and beautiful. Although she was still young, she had already taken shape. At this time, Jiang Yue was already on par with Xiao Dyer. But Xiao Dyer was more of a cold temperament. Well, that's good. Xiao Yeye, you have the blessing of the Shang Kingdom's national destiny in your body, and the dragon and phoenix spiritual veins are bred in your body. Today, I will help you out again. That while Yi Fan said this, he took out the 9 heavens flying phoenix with one hand. Sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. Like the sound of autumn drizzle, the phoenix phantom in Yi Fan's hand merged into Jiang Yue's body. After a while, only some veins were left in the phoenix phantom in Yi Fan's hand, and the phoenix symbol on Jiang Yue's forehead was completely exposed, forming a plane. After a few breaths, the real body of the 9 heavens flying phoenix was completely integrated into Jiang Yue's body. This is a shocking scene, but the two merged without any fluctuations. If there were a cultivator who was proficient in observing the qi here now, he would see a phoenix phantom covering Jiang Yue. This is the real phoenix of destiny. Not only is it blessed by destiny, but it can also break the limitation of status. From now on, Jiang Yue will no longer be restricted by the destiny of a country and can rule the world. This kind of luck in true phoenix is much stronger than the true dragon luck that Xiagua gave birth to. Looking at the more powerful Jiang Yue, Yi Fan nodded slightly. Ding, congratulations to the host for winning the title of, For Heroes of Future Generations. Special reward to the host, Toad Dragon, a character from the Naruto world. Yi Fan was just feeling gratified that Jiang Yue had merged with the luck and true phoenix, but he didn't expect that at this time, the system rewarded him with such a big gift, Toad Dragon. After hearing the system's prompt, Yi Fan smacked his lips. He began to recall his memories of Naruto in his previous life. In fact, Yi Fan used to be an anime fan, not only the plots in Naruto, but also One Piece, Dragon Ball and other anime. Yi Fan watched a lot in his previous life. When Yi Fan just crossed into this world, Yi Fan accepted a lot of apprentices. At that time, Yifan often told his apprentices about the plots in Naruto or One Piece. After listening to Yifan's story, his blood boiled. His disciples also secretly used characters from the anime world to label themselves, some disciples like Naruto. So they established a ninja village in the East Desert, specializing in helping the weak and fighting the strong. Some disciples liked pirates, so they simply set sail and set out to sea, determined to become the strongest man. Seeing that the disciples were all excited by the characters in the anime stories, Yifan gradually stopped telling his disciples stories about the anime world. Besides, this toad dragon is a very powerful existence in the Naruto world. Yifan remembered that it was once a summoned beast that Jiraiya, Minato Namikaze, and Naruto Uzumaki had contracted. It is also the son of Gamabunta. Living in Mayaboku Mountain, Gamabunta's ability is naturally beyond doubt. After all, he is a 3 ninja who has repeatedly made military exploits with Orochimaru's Manabu and Tsunade's summoned slug. While Yifan was thinking, a scout suddenly came from a distance. "Your Majesty, there is a giant toad outside the palace, and he said he was your Majesty's subordinate." The scout reported with a strange look on his face. "Let him in," Yifan said happily. He was just thinking about how to explain the identity of the toad dragon. Unexpectedly, the system had already arranged everything for Yifan. Bang bang bang. The next moment, a giant red toad with a giant pipe in its mouth, a bandage around its waist, and a dagger on its waist appeared in front of Yifan. "Toad dragon, meet you, sir." That the toad dragon bowed slightly, imitating the way humans do, and saluted Yifan. Seeing this, Yifan said, "No need to be polite, he is indeed the biological son of Toad Wenta, and even his dress is exactly the same as your father." He raised his hand slightly and glanced at Toad Dragon again. Only then did he realize that Toad Dragon's strength was not at the level of War King, but had reached the 3rd level of War Candidate. It seems that as his own strength increases, the subordinates rewarded by the system will become stronger and stronger. With these thoughts rolling in his mind, Yifan then asked Toad Dragon, "Toad Dragon, I order you to go to the Xinhui Holy Land in Beizhou to capture the ancestor of the Xia family." Hearing this, Toad Dragon nodded fiercely, and after a ha-yi sound, he turned around and jumped away. As expected of a cultivator of the 3rd level of War Candidate, with just this one jump, he can catch up with the blood escape technique of the War King cultivator. Well, it seems that this little toad rewarded by the system is really good, Yifan said in his heart. Although Toad Dragon and the ancestor of the Xia family are both cultivators of the 3rd level of War Candidate, but Yifan is still very confident in Gamakura. After all, the former is one of the 3 ninjas of Naruto, the son of Gamakura boss. The ninjutsu he mastered must be a more advanced ninjutsu, or even a fairy technique. These techniques are completely different from the creatures here. Looking at Gamakura's back as it went away, Yifan was quite touched. Now that Gamakura has been summoned, can Uzumaki Naruto be summoned in the future? If so, it would be too awesome. Chapter 47, One Hand Wipes Out a Capital City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 47, Destroying a Capital with One Hand. After Toad Dragon left, Xuanhuan finally emerged from the fusion of 9 Heavens Divine Phoenix. Read, wake up slowly. I saw Xuanhuan being lifted up into the void by the true dragon's luck. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network, and her whole body was surrounded by the golden shadow of the 9 Heavens Divine Phoenix. After completely merging with the 9 Heavens Divine Phoenix, Xuanhuan gradually opened her eyes. At this moment, she felt indescribably refreshed, and her thoughts became clearer. There is even a sense of intimacy that blends with the original power of the avenue. Originally, if a monk wanted to blend with the origin of the Great Avenue, he must reach the realm of the War Emperor, but Xuanhuan was able to do this because of the 9 Heavens Divine Phoenix in her body. Although the 9 Heavens Divine Phoenix is transformed into the true Dragon of Luck, it is not a god-level or holy-level Taoist in itself, but its potential for future growth is no less than those of these systems, because the 9 Heavens Divine Phoenix is also one of the Tao physiques. 9 Heavenly Divine Phoenix, I didn't expect such an existence in the world. I thought it only existed in legends. Xuanhuan felt a little emotional. After all, The nine heavens divine phoenix was so mysterious that it was impossible for ordinary people to find it, at least in Beizhou, or even anywhere in Xinhui Holy Land. Such divine objects cannot be found. Beizhou is too young for you now. When you succeed in cultivation, you can step out of Beizhou and move towards a wider world, Yifan said. Can I go out of Beizhou? How big is the outside world? I'm really looking forward to it. Jiang Yuer said happily. While Jiang Yuer was in a daze, Mark suddenly remembered something. By the way, little Yaya, you are now blessed by the nine heavens divine phoenix, and your physique has been greatly enhanced. However, your system still needs the help of external objects after all. So, let me teach you another physical technique to make up for this shortcoming. While saying this, Yifan began to search from his consciousness. During the tens of thousands of years he traveled to this world, Yifan received a lot of benefits from the system, cheats, exercises, elixirs, etc., too numerous to mention. At this moment, Yifan wanted to find a technique that was suitable for Jiang Yuer's practice, but it would still take some time. After the tea time, Yifan continued, I will teach you the immortal turning technique again. After practicing this technique, you can make up for your physical defects. After saying this, Yifan stretched out his finger and tapped Jiang Yuer's eyebrows out of thin air. The next moment, vast runes were transmitted into Jiang Yuer's mind. This is a secret book, and the words on the secret book are not the words of this world, although the words were different from this world. Once the runes entered Jiang Yuer's mind, she was surprised to find them. She knew all the fonts on it. This is the sentence at the beginning. Fuji reincarnation. Fuji reincarnation is the key to Orochimaru's ability to live forever, being able to transfer his spirit into other people's bodies, thereby gaining eternal life. A simple sentence made Jiang Yuer's soul fly away. This technique of immortal reincarnation is somewhat similar to the fight between monks, but it has been improved by the system, and now the new reincarnation technique does not only take away other people's bodies. His own physical body can also achieve immortality, with a total of 9 turns. After cultivating to perfection, you can even be reborn with blood, which is very terrifying. You can actually transfer your spirit into someone else's body and gain eternal life. A piece of kung fu can actually make people immortal. How terrifying this is, Jiang Yuer continued to read with anticipation. The art of immortal reincarnation is really powerful, but if you want to master it, I'm afraid it won't be that easy. Jiang Yuer saw a man named Orochimaru in this secret book and wrote annotations for this book. At the beginning, Orochimaru praised himself, saying that he was an absolute genius, but the reality is indeed like this. After all, Orochimaru is a rare ninja in Konoha village, and he was promoted to Jounin in just a few years. You know, the strength of Jounin is similar to that of the King of War in this world. It took Orochimaru several years to become the King of War, which is indeed very smart. Even such a smart person, who has spent his entire life, has only been able to practice the art of immortal reincarnation to the 6th level. Moreover, the 7th and 8th and 9th turns are even more difficult. This technique is so difficult. It's as difficult as reaching the sky to master the 9th level. Jiang Yuer sighed. Suddenly, Jiang Yuer suddenly remembered something, so she asked Yifan, Ancestor, this technique is so difficult, has anyone really mastered it? Yifan nodded and said, of course there are, such as the 6 paths immortal. 6 paths is also not a monk in this world, but a transcendent godlike existence in the world of Naruto, therefore, it is also called the 6 paths immortal. Lu Dao, why have I never heard of this name? Jiang Yuer said in surprise. Yifan continued, if the 6 paths are not monks from this world, you won't recognize them. That is a story from another world. Seeing what Mark said, Jiang Yuer suddenly became interested and wanted to find out more about Mark, about the immortal of 6 paths. However, in response to Jiang Yuer's request, Mark just shook his head lightly. This matter is not known to outsiders. In the past, Yifan liked to tell his disciples stories such as Naruto, One Piece, and Dragon Ball, but later he found that once he told his disciples such exciting stories, then the disciples would become ambitious and unwilling to practice seriously. Just when Yifan was about to find an excuse to send Jiang Yuer away, Jiang Bo was pushed into the imperial garden by Hu Qiner. Jiangbo and Hu Qiner both looked very proud, and even the movement of pushing the wheelchair was much lighter. Your Majesty, I want to report a great happy event to you. Before the person arrived, Jiangbo's hearty laughter had already been heard. Father, what are you so happy about? Jiang Yuer walked over and asked, is it because my mother gave me another brother or sister? You are so outspoken, how can you be so shameless? Jiangbo's old face flushed. The thing that makes you so happy, I guess it must be the news that Daxia was destroyed. Yi Fan was still sitting in the imperial garden, saying lightly. Your Majesty, how did you know? Could it be? Jiangbo was full of surprise. Suddenly, Jiangbo seemed to remember something. Grandmaster, could it be you who did it? Yi Fan nodded lightly. My God, it was really the Grandmaster who did it? Grandmaster, you are too scary, you wiped out the capital of Daxia with one hand. Beizhou is not far from the Holy Land of Stars, so, the news that the capital of Daxia was destroyed, the next day, it reached the ears of Xia Chaoga, the Grandmaster of Xia. At that time, he was in retreat, but suddenly received a call from Xia Wuyin, the current lord of Xia. I thought that Xia could hold on until he rushed back with the National Defense Formation. As a result, as soon as he came out of retreat, his consciousness was pulled into the territory of Xia. After using his spiritual sense to investigate, he discovered that his great Xia Kingdom had been destroyed. Chapter 48 The mastermind behind the scenes is too powerful. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 48 The man behind the scenes is too powerful. Xinghui Holy Land, the Supreme Emperor of Xia Kingdom, after learning the news that his great Xia Kingdom was destroyed, he was so angry that he went crazy on the spot. Boom! There were thunder and lightning in the sky above the huge formation of the Star Holy Land. The mana is as vast as the ocean of Wangyang, surrounding Xia Chaoga. As the saying goes, black clouds are threatening to destroy the city. Ordinary disciples of the Holy Land of Stars, after feeling this terrifying aura that would destroy the world, everyone couldn't help but tremble, and their upper and lower teeth collided involuntarily, making a clicking sound. When an ordinary man is angry, his blood will splash 5 steps. When the emperor is angry, he will bleed and float on the oars. As the founding emperor of the great Xia Kingdom, Xia Chaoga was also a powerful leader in the 3rd level of war. When had such humiliation been accepted? In this Beizhou area, everyone knew that the great Xia Kingdom was attached to the Holy Land of Star Glory, but now, under his nose, his country was wiped out. It was like Xia Chaoga was walking in a busy market, and suddenly someone came over and gave him a big mouth. He spat hard on his face again. Xia Chaoga's terrifying pressure was released, making all the disciples and elders of Xinghui Holy Land look horrified. He was afraid that Xia Chaoga would kill them without paying attention. Deputy Holy Master Xia, calm down. Just then, a voice came from the depths of Xinghui Holy Land, which made Xia Chaoga put away this terrifying pressure. A disciple asked with a look of horror on his face, what happened to the terrifying pressure just now? Oh my God, I'm sweating on my back. Are you stupid? That's our Vice Holy Master Xia, who is out of seclusion today. A disciple replied cursingly. The Deputy Holy Master is the 3rd most powerful person in the war. It's okay if you have a cold sweat on your back. I can't stand my pants. He was embarrassed to say that he peed his pants directly when he felt the pressure of annihilation. After a pause, another disciple said, I'm afraid the Deputy Holy Master will break through again when he comes out of seclusion this time. This pressure, TSK. Maybe he will reach the 4th level of war. Since you have broken through the realm, why are you so angry? You don't know yet. I heard that a few days ago, a big hand fell from the capital of Daxia and wiped out the entire country. What? In the Xinghui Holy Land, various discussions arose one after another, and everyone began to discuss the person who took action. None of them knew who could be so bold as to wipe out the capital of the Deputy Holy Lord. Deputy Holy Master Xia is so powerful. It seems that Heishan behind the scenes may not be able to stay alive for a few days. Deep in the starry Holy Land, there is a stream surrounded by fairy clouds. Ordinary streams are transparent, but the stream here actually exudes little stars, dazzlingly colorful. The stars gather together like the Milky Way in the sky. it is precisely because of this river of stars that the starry Holy Land got its name. At this moment, two old men were standing at the source of the stream, a man wearing a Taoist robe embroidered with patterns of stars in the sky has an ethereal temperament. He is the Holy Lord of Xinhui Holy Land, with the name Holy Lord Xinhui, but the other one is domineering, like the ancient emperor descending and patrolling all directions. Among them is Xia Kingdom, the founding emperor of Daxia. Holy Lord, there are thieves who have destroyed the country and the capital and insulted my face. I hope the Holy Lord will help me. I swear to find out the mastermind behind this and imprison him in the soul-refining furnace so that he will never be reincarnated. Xia Kingdom said through gritted teeth towards Holy Lord Xinhui. Although Xia Kingdom has lived to this day, the blood relationship is already very weak in the world of mortals, but after all, the Xia Kingdom was the land he created, and now it has been wiped out. This is a great shame and humiliation for him. No need to say anything, Deputy Holy Master. Everyone knows that your great Xia Kingdom is attached to the Holy Land of Starlight. Now if anyone dares to wipe out your Xia Kingdom's capital in front of me, they are not giving me face. You don't need to tell me from the Deputy Holy Master, I also want to cause trouble for the mastermind behind the scenes. Star Holy Master said, seeing what Holy Lord Xinhui said, Xia Kingdom was immediately overjoyed. Thank you Holy Lord. Originally, Xia Kingdom was worried that he would not be able to deal with the mastermind alone, but now that Lord Xinhui is on his side, what else does he have to fear? You know, Holy Lord Xinhui is at the peak of the 3rd level of war preparation, and he has already stepped into the 4th level of war preparation. An existence that explodes with all its strength and can reach the mid-level battle stage, although a while ago, they saw a scene in Beizhou where 5 major talents were wiped out during the war, but according to what they later learned, the war-bound realm was a monk from the outer realm. I think he happened to be passing by here. Now that the fight is over, he must have left as well, therefore, Beizhou is still their world now. After finding out this, these powerful warriors in the warring realm began to wander again. Xinhui Holy Land is the largest holy land in Beizhou, and the Holy Lord is the #1 person in the Holy Land, so naturally it is even more so. Immediately, Holy Lord Xinhui took out a mirror surrounded by runes and surrounded by stars. There are endless stars shining on it, just like endless stars, all put into the mirror. It is very magical. Deputy Holy Master, this is the most important treasure of our Holy Land of Starlight, the Holy Mirror of Starlight. Let's use the starry mirror to see who is behind this. The Starry Lord said calmly. Hearing this, Xia Kingdom nodded and said, that's very good, then I'll give it to the Holy Master. No problem, I want to see who is so arrogant that he dares to wipe out the capital of Xia Kingdom. Holy Lord Xinhui said with a proud smile. Immediately, Holy Lord Xinhui activated the Holy Mirror. The scene in the mirror soon moved to the imperial garden of the great Shang Kingdom. Seeing the palace of the Shang Kingdom emerge, Xia Kingdom was slightly stunned. Although he had seen the palace of the Shang Kingdom before, after such a long time, he could not remember where it was for a moment. The next moment, a sharp eye appeared on the mirror, then, countless cracks appeared on the Starlight Holy Mirror. The originally bright starlight also returned to nothingness. As the Holy Mirror was destroyed, the movements of the Starlight Holy Lord's hands also paused, and then he spit out a mouthful of blood, and his breath suddenly became weak. Holy Lord, you... Xia Kingdom's face suddenly changed. The Starlight Holy Lord didn't care about these, and he showed an extremely horrified expression on his face. The mastermind behind the scenes is too strong, just a look made me suffer a backlash. Xia Kingdom, what kind of enemy did you provoke, that he knew in his heart that the one who could cause him to suffer a heavy blow with just a look must be a cultivator of the middle stage of the battle? No, I'm afraid that even a mid-level warrior can't do it, it must be a high-level warrior. You know, now Xinghui's Saint Lord has stepped half a foot into the mid-level warrior. Even if he is defeated, it is impossible for him to be so severely injured with just a glance. Xia Kingdom was confused, not knowing what happened just now. When he was about to ask in detail, a sound wave suddenly came from outside. Xia Kingdom, come out and see me. Well, looking for me? Saint Lord, wait here for a while, I'll be back soon. After saying that, Xia Kingdom turned around and flew outside. Xinghui's Saint Lord was complaining, and he was going to come back soon. I'm afraid he will never come back. Chapter 49 Send a Gift. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Forbidden Land of the Great Xia Kingdom. Read, this was opened up by the Xia Kingdom for the royal family to practice. The reason why Yi Fan was here was to assist Jiang Yue in her practice. He was teaching Jiang Yue to practice the immortal reincarnation technique, when he suddenly felt something in his heart and looked up into the distance, but soon, Yi Fan retracted his gaze. It's actually a god-level magic weapon, but it's just a third-level warrior monk who can't exert its power at all. So, just now Yi Fan destroyed the Starlight Holy Mirror. Yi Fan thought in his heart, calculate the time, the toad dragon sent out before should be here. If the Starlight Holy Land is stubborn, I don't mind destroying one more force. Anyway, the strongest person in the Starlight Holy Land is only a peak of the third level of the war regimen. Although he has stepped half a foot into the middle level of the war regimen, Yi Fan still has confidence in the toad dragon. After all, it is also the biological son of Gamabunta, and should have mastered many of his father's ninjutsu. Two flowers bloom, each with its own beauty. Yi Fan's thoughts are not mentioned for the moment. Let's say that Xia Chaoga was in the Holy Land before. And when he heard someone calling him, he rushed out. When he came to the formation passage of Xinhui Holy Land, Xia Chaoga couldn't help asking, "Who is looking for me outside?" The disciple guarding the formation was embarrassed. "Deputy Saint Lord, please forgive me, I don't know what to say." Xia Chaoga snorted coldly and said, "What is there to not know how to say? Is it possible that the people outside are not human? But you can say it." To reply to the Deputy Saint Lord, "The people outside are indeed not human," said the disciple guarding the formation. "What? If it's not a human, then it must be a ghost." Xia Chaoga was in doubt, and the gatekeeper continued, "It's not a human, but a giant toad, a bit like a toad, I don't know what it is exactly." While the two were talking, the gate of the Xinhui Holy Land had slowly opened. Seeing that the gatekeeper couldn't explain clearly, Xia Chaoga was too lazy to ask again, and stepped outside the formation. The next moment, a huge orange toad came into Xia Chaoga's eyes. At this moment, a giant orange toad with a giant pipe in its mouth, a bandage around its waist, and a short sword appeared outside the Xinhui Holy Land formation. A monster in the war candidate realm? Xia Chaoga was shocked. When did a monster in the war candidate realm appear in Beizhou? He didn't know it at all. The progress of monster cultivation is much slower than that of humans. After all, humans can use the secret manuals of skills to cultivate, but monsters don't have these things. Monster cultivation depends entirely on blood inheritance, like the divine beasts chasing light tiger or swallowing sky kunpeng. These monsters have the strength of the war king realm when they are born, and they have innate cultivation techniques in their brains. If this kind of monster can advance to the war candidate realm, then Xia Chaoga will not be surprised, but the giant toad in front of him seems to have never been seen in the classics, and it does not look like a descendant of a divine beast or a holy beast. If it is not the blood of a divine beast, how can it be cultivated to the war candidate realm? Could it be that the divine beast and the toad hybridized, causing the bloodline to mutate? Just when Xia Chaoga was completely confused, the toad dragon spoke. "Quack, are you Xia Chaoga?" The toad dragon didn't know what Xia Chaoga was thinking. If the toad dragon knew what Xia Chaoga was thinking, the toad dragon would definitely be furious and then retort, "You are a hybrid, your whole family is a hybrid." The toad dragon's question brought Xia Chaoga back to his senses. "I am Xia Chaoga, what do you want to see me for?" "Quack, it's you." After saying this, the toad dragon disappeared from the spot. Toad short knife slash. The toad dragon shouted, and then he held the machete and slashed in front of Xia Chaoga. Xia Chaoga didn't expect to fight as soon as they met, but he was a third-level warrior after all, so he still had some reaction ability. When the toad dragon put the machete in front of him, Xia Chaoga jumped to the side and finally dodged. Although he dodged the attack, Xia Chaoga felt a chill in his heart. Never expected that this big toad, which looked so clumsy, could burst out at such a speed. Just as Xia Chaoga was in doubt, the figure of the toad dragon followed like a ghost. Swish, 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 the toad dragon came swinging a short knife in his hand. Because of its fast speed, it made a series of air-breaking sounds. It swung hundreds of knives at Xia Chaoga's figure in a row. The whole action was done in one go, but it only took a breath of time. the Toad short knife slash was learned by Toad Dragon from his father Gamabunta. This move was created by Gamabunta, who used the huge short knife he carried with him to look at the target from below, then, using the excellent elasticity of the Toad to jump high, he jumped high and cut the enemy in two with one knife. Originally, he could only swing one knife. Obviously, after learning this move from Gamabunta, Toad Dragon has practiced it to a more powerful level. In one breath, he chopped hundreds of times. Looking at Xia Kingdom again, although he relied on the magic power of the War Waiting Realm, he was not chopped into two by the Toad Dragon. He dodged hundreds of attacks, but now he is in a very embarrassed state. The dragon pattern Taoist robe on his body was chopped into tatters by the Toad Dragon, and he was worse than a beggar on the street. As a last resort, Xia Kingdom could only burst out with all his strength. Dharma like heaven and earth. Xia Kingdom let out a low roar, and then a phantom of a five-clawed golden dragon appeared on his back. It was Xia Kingdom's true spirit Dharma image. When a cultivator reaches the battle candidate realm, he will form a Dharma image according to the spiritual energy in his body. In battle, he can be blessed by calling out the Dharma image, and his combat power will increase greatly. Look, the deputy saint was forced to use the Dharma image by that toad. The pressure of the deputy saint's Dharma image is so terrifying. Even through the power of the formation, it is still moving and suffocating. It seems that this huge toad is in trouble. Although he has cultivated to the battle candidate realm, his intelligence is still so low that he actually provokes an existence that should not be provoked. Poor big toad. The disciples in the Xuanhuan formation began to feel sad for the Toad Dragon. On the other side, when the Toad Dragon saw the Dharma image of Xia Kingdom, his pinhole-like eyes revealed a touch of humanized ridicule. This spell is interesting, a bit like Susanu. The Toad Dragon squinted. But you still can't face my Lord Toad. Look at me breaking all the laws with one force and crushing the vendor's art. The Toad Dragon shouted, then leaped and flew into the void. Plop. The next scene outside the Xuanhuan position surprised everyone. The Toad Dragon sat on the true spirit discovery summoned by Xia Kingdom with one buttock, and also sat Xia Kingdom under his buttocks. Quack, I'd better catch you and hand you over to the Lord for punishment. Is it actually Mount Tai's pressure? I didn't expect Toad Dragon to have such a trick. Not bad. In the great Shang dynasty, Yi Fan watched the battle between Toad Dragon and Xia Kingdom through the Master Servant authority, and was amazed. The next moment, Yi Fan woke up Jiang Yue who was meditating. Go call Jiang Bo and the others, I want to give them a gift. Chapter 50. The gift is the founding emperor of Xia. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kingdom that I am the forbidden area of Dasheng Kingdom. After Jiang Yue called Jiang Bo, Hu Qiner, and others, everyone only saw an old man kneeling in front of Mark. The old man was still wearing a tattered dragon robe. Taiwan Novel Network. Your Majesty, does this person look familiar? Jiang Bo and others had never told Xia Kingdom's true appearance. However, looking at his appearance, he is somewhat similar to Xia Wuyuan, the leader of the Xia Kingdom. At this moment, the great monk who was following Jiang Bo seemed to remember something, and his whole body began to tremble uncontrollably. This is the first king of Daxia, Xia Kingdom. The great monk had seen Xia Kingdom's face in the portrait, so he recognized him now, the founding emperor of the Xia Kingdom. Hearing this, Jiang Bo and others felt as if they were struck by lightning. Xia Kingdom, the founding emperor of the great Xia Kingdom, was the Dinghai divine needle of the Xia Kingdom, a powerful warrior at the third level. At this moment, he actually knelt in front of his ancestor. Jiang Bo and others could not help but be shocked by such shocking things. I didn't expect that the mastermind behind the scenes was you, the ancestor of the Shang Kingdom. I thought you were dead. I didn't expect you to show up again now. Even your servants can easily defeat me. Xia Kingdom smiled miserably, his face full of self-deprecation. When he was young, he once glimpsed Yi Fan in the distance. At that time, Yi Fan was covered with hundreds of millions of divine lights and stepped into the void to reach the Dharma realm. It was a wonderful life. In Xia Kingdom's view, Yi Fan at that time was just like the coming of an immortal into the world. However, as time went by, Xia Kingdom also reached the stage of war, and at that time, Yi Fan had already retired from the world. Looking around, there was no opponent for him anymore. Xia Chaoga believed that he was the strongest person in this era. Even the original Yi Fan was not his enemy, but what he didn't expect was that Mark would appear again now, and it's even stronger than it was back then. Although the mastermind behind the scenes has been found, Xia Chaoga is unable to avenge his shame. After all, he couldn't even defeat Yi Fan's servant. How could he be my opponent? The most despairing thing in the world is this. Yi Fan ignored Xia Chaoga's self-deprecation. He lowered his head and looked at the other party and said, Xia Chaoga, I have two choices now, either surrender to me and stay in the Shang Kingdom to protect the development of the Shang Kingdom. Either, Although Yi Fan did not say what would happen if he did not surrender, the threat in his words was fully revealed. Bah, I am the first emperor of Xia Kingdom and the deputy holy master of Xinhui Holy Land. How can I be controlled by you? Xia Chaoga said harshly. If that's the case, then go die. Yi Fan sneered again and again, and suddenly, he pointed out, right in the middle of Xia Chaoga's eyebrows. Xia Chaoga suddenly trembled, and then his consciousness was cut off by Yi Fan. A dark and terrifying devil, holding a demon-conquering pestle, appeared in Xia Chaoga's consciousness. If the great monk on the side could see this scene, he would know that it was Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva who appeared in Xia Chaoga's mind. Because Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva once vowed not to become a Buddha. Until hell is empty, he transformed into the guardian of the underworld and enlightened everyone. Then the world only knows one but not the other. The reason why Ksitigarbha can enlighten all living beings is because he can cut off evil thoughts in people's hearts. Yi Fan took advantage of this and manifested Ksitigarbha Bodhisattva, cut off Xia Chaoga's consciousness, and then instilled what he wanted Xia Chaoga to do. Suddenly, Xia Chaoga's mind was shrouded in endless darkness. No, I don't want to die yet. Knowing that death was imminent, Xia Chaoga's previously firm heart was finally broken at this moment. He knelt down and began to beg Yi Fan for mercy, but it's still too late. Disease. Yi Fan's voice resounded in his consciousness, and then, the latter's consciousness was completely corroded by darkness, clearing away all distracting thoughts. Servant Xia Chaoga, join the master. Are you willing to protect the Shang Kingdom? For the master, I will go through fire and water without hesitation. Xia Chao's song was like thunder. Seeing this, Jiang Yuer on the side was dumbfounded. The emperor was long and the emperor was short just now, but now he actually calls Mark a servant. Yi Fan laughed secretly in his heart. This is the scary thing about Ksitigarbha's salvation technique. As long as the caster's realm is stronger, he will save you in minutes. On the surface, Xia Chaoga is still the same as before, but in fact, he has become Yi Fan's puppet. Okay Xia Chaoga, go change your clothes. You will be mine from now on. Don't ruin my reputation. Xia Chaoga bowed and said piously, I will obey the master's decree. That at this point, Xia, the archenemy of the Shang Kingdom, was eradicated by Yi Fan. Even the founding emperor of Xia Kingdom became Yi Fan's servant at this moment. Yi Fan said to Jiang Bo and others, the matter here is over. You will vigorously develop the Shang Kingdom in the future, and you must not slack off in your efforts. Although Shangguo was a force that Yi Fan had not intended to build before, it was only for completing system tasks so as to get rewards, but now that it has been passed down, it is no longer a trivial matter. It's your majesty, the Ancestor. The descendants will definitely not disappoint the Ancestor. Okay, all of you, please step aside. Jiang Yuer stays, and I will continue to teach you how to practice. Immediately, Jiang Bo and the others left the inner hall, leaving only Jiang Yuer behind. Little Yuer, please work harder. You are the one with the lowest level among my descendants. Yi Fan said to Jiang Yuer. Don't worry, Ancestor, I will practice hard and try to catch up with them as soon as possible. Jiang Yuer said firmly, she doesn't want to be the worst among Yi Fan's descendants, she wants to strive for the top. And this happened to play into Yi Fan's heart. If we don't create some competition, I'm afraid future generations won't practice hard. If he doesn't practice, who will earn system rewards for him? After Xiao Yuer advances to the Battle Soul Realm, I will be able to break through to the Battle Emperor. Yi Fan thought to himself, regardless of whether you are in the War King realm or the War Waiting realm, you can only achieve rapid success in this small Beizhou. These 30,000 realms are so vast. Only by advancing to the level of War Emperor can one have some strength to protect themselves. Hey, I don't know how my disciples are doing now. Have any of them broken through to the War Emperor or a higher realm? That Yi Fan murmured to himself. More than 10,000 years ago, Yi Fan accepted a total of more than 10 disciples. Each of these disciples was gifted by nature. It would not be an exaggeration to say that they were shocking monsters. With Yi Fan's careful guidance and the good fortune he has been given, these 10,000 years have passed, and he must have reached a higher level. Immediately, Yi Fan shook his head and stopped thinking about these things. Now he can only advance to the Battle Emperor realm. When he steps out of Beizhou, all the truth will be revealed. Immediately, Yi Fan suddenly thought of Xiao Dyer and the others. I wonder if they have looted all the treasures in Biopuzzi's secret realm at this moment.